My beloved, lean in and let the hush gather around you like warm silk. Hear this voice as if light itself is leaning close to your ear, soft and deliberate, calling you by name into a place that feels like breath and sanctuary at once. There is a tenderness in these words that wants nothing from you except your willingness to listen. And as you listen, the room where you sit becomes holy ground. Notice the small sounds around you recede, and notice instead a low, golden hum that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. A warmth that passes along your skin like sunlight through glass. Imagine, just for a heartbeat, a ribbon of gold descending from above, slow and luminous, pooling like honey at the crown of your head. And with each gentle drop, the weight you carry loosens a knot, unwinding in the chest. A dampening of the anxious clamor. A softening in the places that have grown hard and guarded. Breathe with me now. Inhale the light. Feel it move through the throat. Settle as a gentle heat across your sternum. And exhale what has been heavy for too long. This is not a speech. This is an invitation. This is a hand extended through silence, through the seasons you have endured, through the nights you thought you faced alone. I see the list of small losses that sits like pebbles in your pocket. The missed chances, the quiet betrayals, the mornings that tasted like yesterday's grief. And I will not pretend they are insignificant. I meet them. I hold them. I do not flinch from the places that ache. Allow the truth to settle. You are never outside my care. You were never an afterthought or a mistake. You were rehearsed in the cosmos, breathed into being with intention, wrapped in a fidelity that does not bend when storms press at your edges. Can you feel the difference between knowing something and being held by it? Let your shoulders drop. Let the line of your jaw unclench. This simple yielding is holy. It is the doorway through which healing comes. 10. Now hear me gently command you. Now rise, my child, rise from the places that have convinced you to crouch from fear. It is time to lift the gaze that has learned to measure itself by what other people's eyes reflect, and to stand in the mirror of pure, untainted love. You have been rehearsing bravery in the quiet, in the small choices no one applauds. Each time you chose tenderness over hardness, each time you hushed a bitter thought and offered a kind one, you were planting seeds in a soil I am tending. There are seasons of invisible growth. The roots go deep long before the green appears above the surface. Trust the subterranean work. I am arranging circumstances you cannot yet name, knitting threads across distances, opening doors with hands you cannot see. Picture a gate at the edge of a long path. Do not fear its height or its lock. Imagine now that the hinges of that gate are turning slow, sure, inevitable. And as they open, you sense a breeze carrying the scent of rain, of new earth, of promise. See the gate unlatch. Watch the world beyond. It looked familiar and strange at once, as if everything you have searched for were waiting politely on the other side, inviting you to step forward. Receive this blessing. Receive this blessing with the same simple faith you used when you believed a stranger who taught you truth without proof. I understand the voices that have told you otherwise, the inner critic that catalogs your failures, the echo of a childhood phrase that shaped your worth, the memory that loops like a broken record. Those voices are loud, but they are not the final authority. I am the steady voice beneath them, the one that does not shout, but that, when heard, rearranges the room. Let me speak into the hush of your doubts. You are not defined by what you regret. You are defined by the fact of being loved and by the possibility of becoming. There is a radical tenderness in this mercy that arrives not as a lecture, but as a tide that erases footprints of shame and redraws the coastline of your identity. Imagine a gentle tide, coming in gold, washing over the marks you thought permanent, and leaving the sand new and clean and ready to receive different steps. You need not earn this tide. It is not rationed. It is not a prize for the righteous or a consolation for the failed. It is simply poured out, lavish and constant. Let your breath match the rhythm of that tide. In, exhale, let go. I call you into a posture of receiving, not because you are weak, but because through receiving you will discover strength that has no name in the world's vocabulary. Receiving is an art of the soul, quiet, brave, and surrendered. Practice it now with a small sacred experiment. Place a hand over your heart and whisper, aloud or silently, I am seen. Say it once, and then again. Feel the vibration of the word settle as if small bells have rung inside your chest. Each time you say it, something loosens. A chain of doubt eases its grip. A shutter falls open. A tiny light, like the first match struck in a cold room, flares and holds. This is the beginning of an inner alchemy where grief is not rejected, but transformed into fuel for compassion, where shame is not erased by avoidance, but redeemed into humility that births wisdom. You have been carrying burdens that were never meant to be shouldered alone. Lay them down. Watch me take them as you hand them over. In the act of release, you will feel an immediate relief, not a dramatic vanishing necessarily, but a soft unweighting, like a garment lifted from weary shoulders. There is a practical mercy threading through this spiritual tenderness. I will lead you, but you must choose to follow, step by step, not by leaps that break you, but by steady, faithful steps that build a path under your feet. If confusion clouds your way, allow stillness to be the compass. In the pause, you will notice a slender clarity, a whisper in the space between thoughts that points you forward. Do not despise the small intimation of light. It is often subtle, a phrase that comforts, an image that returns like a soft refrain, a person who arrives at the right time. Pay attention to these gentle signposts. They are the breadcrumbs of grace. When temptation circles or old patterns call you home, like a familiar street, exercise the courage of turning another direction. Every time you step away from what harms you, the chains around that thing loosen. The habit shrinks. The old voice loses volume. You are being retrained into a new rhythm. Less reaction, more response. Less hurry, more discernment. Less surviving, more thriving. And now let us speak of abundance, because abundance is not only coins and labels and accounts, it is the overflowing of spirit into every part of your life. Hear this as a vivid picture. Light gathers over you like a harvest sun, slow and golden, illuminating not just what you need, but what you are meant to steward. Wealth is energy, and energy flows to what is aligned with purpose and service and gratitude. See yourself standing in a field at dawn. The ground is fertile where you stand because you have been faithful in small things. A rain begins, but this is no ordinary rain. It is a miracle rain. Gentle at first, and then increasing until droplets glisten like jewels on leaves, and the earth drinks with a hunger you did not know was there. Feel that rain cleanse your doubts. Let it soak into the soil of your soul, sprouting shoots of creativity and courage. Visualize gates of opportunity, swinging open in sequence. Not all at once, which would overwhelm, but exactly in the order that nurtures steady growth. Notice doors labeled with things you name in your heart: reconciliation, restoration, clarity, new income, meaningful work, surprising favor. These doors are not fables. They are invitations already being prepared. Receive this command now. Receive this blessing into your life and act from the conviction of it. Pause and claim it. I welcome abundance modeled in integrity. I open to miracles that honor my truest self. Speak these prayers not as pleas from a starving place, but as declarations from a soul that knows it will be fed. There is a magnetism to gratitude. Each time you acknowledge a small gift, the steam rising from your morning cup, the laughter of someone you love, the quiet 45 seconds of peace. Between obligations, you increase the gravitational pull toward more good. Gratitude rewires scarcity into openness. Practice it like an artist arranges light. With intention, make space for the sacred in the mundane and watch how the ordinary becomes spectacular. This is not mysticism alone, it is disciplined curiosity about the goodness already placed in your life. Keep your eyes for the evidence, an unforeseen check, a conversation that unlocks a long-closed door, a person showing up with resources you needed. These are the small epiphanies that accumulate into unignorable movement. Do not be afraid of the word miracle. It is simply the common name for what happens when love meets opportunity and the ordinary rules bend. See in your imagination a table set with dishes of various colors and tastes. Each plate is a possibility. Some will be unfamiliar, but as you take the first wary bite, you discover new flavor. Allow your life to become a table where miracles are nourishments, proportioned for you in wisdom. I will not hand you reckless fortune that asks nothing of your integrity. I will orchestrate favor that enlarges your capacity to bless others. Wealth without wisdom withers. Abundance that is shared ripples beyond its first touch. Be generous with what you are given. Plant seeds of help even when you receive little, and watch the soil respond. In giving, you receive not as a bargain, but as a spiritual law woven into the heart of reality. There will be tests, gentle and sometimes fierce, that examine where your trust actually lives. When doubt re-enters, greet it without shame. Doubt is not the end of faith. It is a question that can lead to greater certainty when asked in the right posture. Bring your questions to me like maps needing translation. Ask where confusion hides, and I will place a lantern there. When your courage feels thin, let me be the reservoir you draw from. My strength will be made perfect in your smallness. You are not expected to muscle through every abyss alone. Allow community to be your net. You were created for belonging, not isolation. Let others into your story, not the whole story at once, but the necessary chapters. Vulnerability is scary because it risks being misunderstood, but it is also the ground where empathy grows. When relationships wound you, lay that hurt down. Forgiveness is not a gift to the offender alone. It liberates you from carrying corrosive weight. Forgive as an act of radical self-liberation, and watch restoration happen in ways you cannot orchestrate. Make room for silence. In stillness, you will hear the cadence of truth that cannot be spoken over noise. The earliest hours hold a clarity like clean glass. In that hush, imagine a corridor lit by candles. Each candle a word of guidance, a gentle nudging, an insight. Walk slowly through that corridor and notice which candle burns brightest. That brightness is a direction to take, a small step to practice, a discipline to adopt. You do not need to understand the full map. You need to take the next luminous step with courage. The path forms under your feet as you move. This is the nature of faithful navigation. In the doing, the vision grows. There are promises being enacted on your behalf even now, not as vague platitudes, but as precise, tender arrangements that will show themselves in time. Watch for confirmations. A call you receive that echoes what you have been carrying. A stranger who speaks one sentence that rearranges your thinking. A convenience that appears exactly when you needed help. These are not coincidences. They are signatures of a larger intelligence loving the details of your life. Keep an expectant heart and a practical hand. Send the resume, make the phone call, say the hard conversation, invest the time. Miracles often arrive on the back of obedience. Your readiness invites them like an open window, invites fresh air. Now, let me take a moment to speak to the places you believed were broken beyond repair. The cracks in your story are not the end of beauty. They are the places where light will enter and craft something new. Imagine a vessel once shattered being mended with gold. The joins become the most luminous parts, not weaknesses, but artistry. This is the alchemy I perform. What you thought ruined becomes the hallmark of resilience, the very testimony that will speak to others who are afraid to hope. You will one day reach back and offer your hand to someone still learning to trust, and in that reaching, your wound becomes a gift. Do not be ashamed of your scars. They are proof that you fought, that you survived, and now that you can lead. There is a rhythm to receiving that I want you to practice. Tell the truth about where you are, be consistent in small acts of faith, and steward well what you are given. Stewardship is not merely financial. It is the careful tending of relationships, time, reputation, and inner life. When you show care for the little entrusted things, greater trust arrives. The world will ask you to hustle, to manufacture quick results, to perform. I ask for a different cadence, steady surrender, faithful work, generous heart. This is a way of living that builds durable fruit. The harvest you pray for is cultivated in patience and persistence, in choices that align with love. Feel now another visualization. See a field after a long drought. The ground seems hard and unwelcoming, yet seeds planted in faith begin to break through. The first shoots are modest, tentative, green and earnest. Rain comes, then sun, then more rain, a pattern of providence. Little by little the field bursts into abundance. This is both literal and metaphorical. Your life too is moving from drought into season. Expect nourishment. Expect growth. Expect favor. Walk as if these things are already true. Posture your heart toward gratitude and watch reality meet your faith. Speak the word of recognition. I am entering a season of increase. Declare it with authority and tenderness. Words shape attention. They do not conjure out of thin air, but they align your posture to receive what is already moving toward you. I will not hide from your pain, nor will I trivialize your struggle to believe that this could be for you. Belief is a muscle. Exercise it gently. Start small. Affirm little truths and let them grow bolder in your speech. Repeat, I am beloved. I am enough. I am guided. These are not magic charms, but anchors for a soul learning to stay in the harbor of love. The more often you return to these anchors, the less the storms can sway you. Let hope be a practice, not merely a mood. Tend it with disciplines: prayer, contemplative silence, acts of service, honest confession, and compassionate community. These are the scaffolds of a life that becomes a testimony. Now, in the hush that remains, imagine gates fully open and a path strewn with petals of light leading you onward. People you will meet along this path will surprise you with kindness. Opportunities will arrive in unexpected envelopes. A shower of miracles, small and large, will fall like confetti, not chaotic but intentional, each piece placed in the choreography of your good. Visualize the miracle rain again. Droplets turning into streams, streams into rivers, rivers into abundance that waters not only your life, but the lives you touch. Embrace the truth that abundance was never meant to be hoarded. It was meant to overflow from you into others. When you align with this flow, you become a conduit for blessing. There is a divine choreography at work in the timing of things. Do not let impatience convince you that delay is denial. Delay is often patient preparation of a magnificent reveal. Learn to steward waiting with grace. Use the time to refine character, to deepen prayer, to build competency. to reconcile where relations are strained, to forgive where resentment has taken root. When the appointed hour comes, you will be ready not just to receive, but to steward and multiply. This is the difference between a gift that puffs up and a gift that plants a garden. Now hear this final tender summons. Step forward with trust. Move toward the next small thing you feel called to do, and do it without certainty of outcome. Do it because it is right, because it grows you, because it aligns with love. The courage to begin is the seed of every miracle. Keep company with gratitude, speak truth to the small fears, and practice generosity with what you have. You are not a solitary wanderer, but a beloved member of a vast company, connected to other hearts that echo your longing and your courage. There will be confirmations in the days ahead, a word, a meeting, a quiet peace that will verify this message. When those signs arrive, receive them as the gentle applause of the universe saying, "Yes, step forward. Trust me in the mundane. Watch me in the marvelous. I am with you. I am moving. I am not finished." Say these affirmations now, slowly, letting each one sink into the marrow of your being. I am seen and cherished. I am ready to receive abundance. I am guided by loving wisdom. I am healed, whole, and brave. I am a beacon of generosity. I am rooted in peace. I am free and I am blessed.